June 14th, 2019.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 106. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm here. No, I'm Todd Sturgill.
You ready to get this bread? That's how I got out of bed today. It's like, time to get this bread.
But honestly, you're lucky I looked at my phone. Yeah, like
I told you different times, so I was prepared for, it would have been fine. It was nice that it worked out this way, though.
Oh yeah, it was one of those things. Like when I saw my phone, I was like, "Cool, I can get this done, and I can just go right back to being a piece of shit."
E3 is over, Todd. Just as quickly as it came, E3 is now behind us. How does it feel?
Disappointing.
Before we get into it, because we're gonna, obviously this whole episode's gonna be devoted to kind of reviewing and dissecting E3 conference by conference, dismantling the establishment brick by brick. But how do you feel about this E3 in general? E3 2019.
I mean, obviously there was, some good shit, but it was just, part of me is just like, I think we've been saying this for a while now, but like, E3's kind of just like not a big deal as much as it used to be, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like, it's just overall just very, very disappointing, personally. Like, that's my thing.
I found it somewhat disappointing this year. I thought it was kind of a lighter year. I don't know if I was like extremely disappointed, but there were some highlights, there were some ups, there were some downs. It's very obvious. I mean, here's the deal. This E3 made it very obvious that we are in like such a transitionary period.
Mm-hmm.
Like between this console generation and the next console generation, which is going to happen next fall. It's just painfully obvious that we're kind of like in that in-between time, and there just aren't that many games being developed for this generation of console anymore. I mean, yeah, games are still coming out, but a lot of the things that people were showing either did not have dates or did not show gameplay or were coming out in 2020 or beyond. So it was kind of odd. Like it was just, I don't know, you feel a little bit like, all right, cool. I wish you were showing me some stuff that was coming out like soon. It's funny because one of the things that I keep talking about, we made fun of Sony a lot when they first announced that they were going to dip out of E3 this year. And now I'm kind of like, maybe that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe they were smart to do that at this point. They bit the bullet. They were like, look, we don't really have that much to show. So why come? Like, why show up and like not have anything really to show and get dragged through the coals like we're about to do for some of these people?
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know. It feels weird. This E3 was weird. It wasn't. I guess I don't feel like super disappointed or anything like that because there were some definite highlights that we're going to cover. But
of course,
it was a low key year. It was low key. Looking at the games that I'm buying this fall, because that's always what's kind of nice about E3 time. It's always kind of nice to like come out of E3 kind of knowing what your fall is going to look like in terms of the games that you're going to be playing and stuff like that. And I'm really not like playing that much this fall. I'm really not. There are a few games that like are interesting to me and that I'm going to be picking up and playing, but I mean, by and large, it's going to be a very light fall for me overall. So I don't know. Just 2019 is just going to go down as just a weird year, man. Just a weird kind of in-between year for video games, I think. But let's go through these conferences, Todd. Let's start off. I think the best way to go through them is I think we'll tackle my predictions first.
Okay.
And we'll just go through my predictions, piece by piece for each conference, and we'll talk about how I did, and then we'll cover sort of the other things that happened in the conference.
Okay.
So, let's start off with Microsoft. Microsoft, they're the first show of E3 this year, and they had a lot riding on them, right? I mean, Sony wasn't going to be there. They were first to bat. They said ahead of the show, like, look, we're going to be talking about our next console. There's a lot riding on Microsoft's shoulders this year. How do you think they did?
They could have done better.
just raw thoughts.
Raw thoughts. I mean, I saw some interesting things. Like, obviously, I saw, one of my, like a game I'm more than likely gonna buy, like day one. Fucking, 'cause it's from Soft.
Oh yes, Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't really see much other than like a teaser trailer for it, but
Just the teaser trailer. I don't even think there was a date.
no.
Like I don't even think there was like a
It was
vague
just
date.
dead ass like the trailer, and it's like from the collaboration. It's like from the minds of Hidetaka Miyazaki and George R. R. Martin. It's like, oh shit, what?
Yeah, I mean that's cool and all, but I don't know, just weird.
Yeah, I'm just like waiting to see more.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty positive that's probably going to be like either a late 2020 or an early 2021 game.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get it. Maybe, you know what this reminds me of? When they did that very first like teaser trailer for what eventually became Sekiro. And like nobody really knew what it was, but then when the Game Awards rolled around, they gave a proper like trailer for it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what we'll get. Maybe when the Game Awards rolls around, we'll get our first real trailer with like a release date and some gameplay. And From Software's to the point where they release a game basically every year at this
Just
point.
about, yeah.
So we'll see. That's definitely interesting. Yeah, there was some definite highlights. There's some good games. Overall, I thought Microsoft did okay. I thought they could have done better. They definitely had a lot of quantity. Pacing was good. It was a lot of like go, go, go.
Yeah.
They had like over 60 games, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, there was a lot. But again, it just felt like a lot of quantity. Quality was kind of hit or miss. There's some stuff that I was like, did you really need to spend like 10 minutes on like the Forza Lego shit?
Of course. Forza is such a big deal now.
It just like it felt like it was really, it felt like it was really tight and really focused. I mean, the thing was it was like an hour and 40 some odd minutes long.
Yeah, just about.
It was long, and as a matter of fact, most of these conferences were very long. All of them were over an hour, I think. With the exception of Nintendo, I think everybody else was at least an hour, and most of them were like an hour and a half. I was actually shocked at how long all of the conferences were this year. And like they just weren't doing that much with their time. I mean, Xbox showed a lot of games in their conference, but I did okay in terms of my predictions with Xbox. I did pretty okay. I'm going to be real with you. I'm pretty much, I think, 50-50 with a lot of these with my predictions this year, because I guess I had higher hopes for this E3, I guess, than I should have had in terms of announcements and stuff. But I did pretty good with Microsoft. So before we get into everything Microsoft announced, let's talk through my predictions here. So I predicted, first of all, that Capcom will take the stage and announce a Dino Crisis reboot using the Resident Evil 2 remake engine. And that did not happen. And the world is less bright because of it. So #Seth was wrong on that one. But, and this was a safe prediction that I made, but it was a clean sweep. Gears of War 5 will have a September release date with a multiplayer beta in July. Slam dunk on that one, Todd. Gears 5 coming September 10th, and there will indeed be a multiplayer beta in July. So, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the called shots on that. I'm happy with the called months and everything like that. Cyberpunk will continue to look amazing and be given a spring 2020 release date. Again, another slam dunk, maybe a little bit of a safe prediction, but I included it because there were a lot of people coming into this E3 that stupidly, I think, thought that Cyberpunk was coming out this fall. And I felt like I needed to address that. I knew it wasn't going to come out this fall. There's no way. And indeed, Cyberpunk does continue to look amazing, and it's coming April 16th, 2020. And I just want to stop for a second and address all of this Keanu Reeves stuff. Because
can I tell you something? I was hoping that you would mention and you would bring up the fair weather motherfuckers.
Because let me tell you something, like, And I think you and I recognized who it was instantly as soon as we heard the voice.
Oh yeah, easily. I was just like, and my mind was like, what? Like,
But there's been this confluence. So at the end of the Cyberpunk trailer, weirdly enough, they actually didn't really show any Cyberpunk gameplay. I kind of thought that they would, especially given the fact that we've already seen gameplay. But again, I don't think there was enough time, frankly. I think they had so much shit that they just could not show gameplay for stuff. Even the stuff that they feasibly could, they didn't have time to show it. So I think Cyberpunk gameplay kind of fell to the wayside. But at the end of that trailer, they revealed that Keanu Reeves is in the game. Like, fully captured, mocap, everything. And he's not just like a cameo, he's like a sidekick based on like your character's origin story in the game.
mm-hmm.
Plays a major role. And I think they actually broke it down like he has like almost as much dialogue as the protagonist does in the game. So again, Keanu Reeves, huge part of this game, and indeed they lift the veil and Keanu Reeves himself is there on the Microsoft stage, right? And everybody freaks out, it's Keanu Reeves, it's great, blah blah blah.
I would have honestly, I would have loved to be doing like a live recording of our reactions.
Oh, we freaked out. I mean, it was
at that fucking moment.
We freaked out. It was cool. It was really cool.
We were already freaking out just from the trailer, and then when
right.
it fucking when he comes out on stage, it's like, what the fuck?
Right. Well, and like it's just the last thing. Like Cyberpunk just doesn't seem like the type of game that would have like a celebrity cameo or a celebrity appearance in it. So like when you see Keanu Reeves at the end of the trailer, you're just like, whoa. Like, this is not the route that I thought you guys were going with this. So, and then, to have that cherry on top of him actually walking out on stage, I mean, that was very cool. But, and several memes have sprouted from it. He was very adorable on stage and blah, blah, blah. But I want to just stop and address all of you Fairweather Keanu fans who have seemed to come out of the woodwork in the past week or two. It makes me sick, Todd. Can I be real with you? It makes me sick.
Fucking preach. Come on.
You guys, a lot of you coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, I'm a big Keanu Reeves fan because I watched, like, John Wick. I'm like, get the fuck out of my face with John Wick. You guys didn't watch... a lot of you didn't see The Matrix. You didn't see Johnny Mnemonic. You didn't trug through the trenches with him with Constantine.
Yeah, I hate that movie far less than I should. Just saying.
He's the best part of it.
Yeah.
And then I see a lot of things going around Facebook, like talking about like stuff from his personal life, like, oh, did you guys know that he like lost his girlfriend and stuff? I'm like, yeah, you know what? I did. I knew that like 10 years ago. I knew that when it happened because I didn't just start caring about fucking Keanu Reeves.
I've always cared about Keanu Reeves, goddammit.
He's one of those actors. I mean, shit. There's recorded evidence. I mean, we've talked about Keanu Reeves several times just on this show. Even recently. Long before this whole like new resurgence of Keanu hype. You asked me recently who I would cast in the Cowboy Bebop movie. I was like, fucking Keanu Reeves.
Yep. Dude, that's dead ass. Like, I think a couple days before actually E3.
Yeah. I think that was the episode. I think before E3, we just happened to be talking about that. I mean, it's just I don't know. There's something annoying to me about this new hype around Keanu Reeves, and it's kind of a confluence of a lot of things. He has a lot of stuff going on, so he's very much in like the public eye. Like he's this cyberpunk stuff blew him up. He has a cameo in this new Netflix movie, which was fucking hilarious. My wife showed that to me the other night. That was so funny, his cameo in that movie. I think it's called Always Be My Maybe. So funny. He's so great in that. And like, and then like all this stuff is coming out about like his charity work and how like humble he is and how good of a person he is and stuff like that.
I've always known this. Like what?
Like, yeah, I know. I know that. don't step to me about Keanu Reeves. Although I am hoping the one sort of silver lining of this stormy, fairweather Keanu Reeves cloud is that I'm hoping that a lot of you will go back and check out some of his filmography. Because there's something about Keanu Reeves. Like, I've always liked him because like he can be funny, he can be dramatic, he can be like emotional. Mm-hmm. I really like him in The Matrix because like he really like he is obviously the star, but he doesn't like chew the scenery apart in The Matrix. Like
Yeah.
he allows the other characters room, and I just think he's, I mean, really sensational in just about everything he does. Another underrated. Have you ever seen A Scanner Darkly?
That is, I know of it. I never actually watched it.
A fucking phenomenal movie that has like Keanu Reeves, Robert Downey Jr., Woody Harrelson, Winona Ryder. Like, it's a great movie that uses like this rotoscoping technology where it actually looks like a cell shaded like video game.
Mm-hmm.
It's motion captured and stuff, and they film the people, but they draw on top of it. So I mean, it looks like a cell shaded game. The whole movie does. It's fucking awesome.
I know what I'm gonna watch. All right.
It's awesome, and again, he kills it. He's just great in everything he's in. So I encourage you all to go through the Keanu Reeves filmography. You know, he's gonna be in Toy Story 4. Go see Toy Story. Play Cyberpunk. You know, if you're gonna be a Keanu Reeves fan, don't let your fire burn bright just now. I mean, carry this torch the way we've always carried this torch. Anyway, that's my little Keanu Reeves rant here in the middle of my Microsoft prediction. So that was a slam dunk for me, Todd. I nailed Cyberpunk there. April 16th, 2020. But nobody could have predicted the involvement of Keanu Reeves. The Outer Worlds will be on Xbox's stage and will release either before or after Borderlands 3. I predicted that they wanted to steer clear of Borderlands 3, and yes, hashtag Seth was right. In fact, this was surprising. The Outer Worlds was like the first game shown. And they opened with The Outer Worlds, and it's coming October 25th, which is, as you know, far away from the big bad Borderlands on September 13th. I was happy to see that. I was happy that game's not going to get cannibalized by Borderlands. They were smart, I think, to release it.
That game would have been fucking destroyed.
Yeah, they're smart to release it in October. Give it a little bit of breathing room. I think, you know, the hardcore fans of Borderlands like you and I will still be playing it at that time, but a lot of people will have fallen off after the first month, and you know, they'll have something like The Outer Worlds to chew on. I don't think that game's going to do super well though, because it's just kind of like it seems a little bit niche. That's why I'm almost thinking that I kind of want to like buy it just to support it.
Yeah,
because I do want to play that game.
That's where I'm at. I am gonna probably still buy it like day one just to support it.
Yeah, and it looks cool. Ninja Theory will announce a new IP. It will be nothing like Hellblade, and it will be given no release date. Again, slam dunk. Now this was leaked after we already posted our predictions episode, but yes, Bleeding Edge is a colorful, quirky, character-based 4v4 melee game, which looks fucking awesome. I love all the characters that they showed in the trailer. Like, just the designs are so good. The gameplay looks a lot of fun. Now, I was technically right on them not giving a release date, because while there is a technical alpha that is starting on June 27th, there is still no hard release date given. So I'm going to take the point on that one.
I don't think you should. No,
no hard date. It's just it's more than likely going to go into beta in like 2020. But I still sort of feel like I still sort of feel like this is going to be like a cross-gen game, where it's going to like be one of those things where Microsoft, it's going to be a big deal probably for Microsoft, or I hope it is, because I think it looks really cool. And then it's going to carry over into, you know, Scarlet. So my last one, my crazy prediction was that Banjo-Kazooie and/or Fable 4 will be announced, and neither of those things happened. But my faith in both of them, Todd, is unwavering. And I don't feel too bad about Banjo-Kazooie because, well, you know, I'll reserve my my hype for when we get there. I debated on opening this episode with some squealing, but we'll get there. We'll get
Lord, the squeals will come.
Oh God! So let's go over sort of the nitty gritty of Microsoft's conference. So I'm just for context, I'm actually pulling up. Kotaku does a really nice roundup of all the noteworthy news from some of these conferences, and I'm kind of basing these off of kind of cross-checking my notes with their notes and basing it off of this. So let's talk about Project Scarlet. So they showcase this kind of towards the end of their show, This is the next generation Xbox console, officially called Project Scarlet, coming out holiday 2020, and they confirmed that Halo Infinite will be a launch game for it. What was weird to me about this, Todd, and I want to get your thoughts on this in a second, but what was weird to me about this is they had kind of a talking heads thing, you know, where they had like all the people who are working on Scarlet, like talking about like Project Scarlet is fucking awesome and blah, blah, blah. And their emphasis was really on the reduced load times, which is really weird because that is a very similar message to what Sony seems to be talking about with PS5. It seems like the RAM and the processing power and the reduction of load times and stuff like that is going to be a major focus for both of the big console manufacturers going forward. How did you feel about this reveal?
I didn't think it needed to happen.
Yeah, I don't either. I think they could have waited until next year and really built up some more hype for it, but what are you going to do? Next year's when we're going to actually see the console and get the real name and
Xbox 2.
What do you think it's going to be called, honestly?
Xbox Infinity.
You think so? Xbox Infinity?
I don't fucking know. Because Infinity would be a dumb name.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. I almost wonder if they're just going to call it simply Xbox. Like, if they're... Because a lot of the stuff that we've been hearing, kind of the rumors we've been hearing about this next generation, is they want to make the consoles modular. So, like, rather than have you buy a new console every 6-7 years or whatever, they want you to be able to, similar to PC, to easily kind of upgrade your console or treat it like...
So, I mean, at that point, Xbox Infinity would actually work.
Yeah, that would work, yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I do think it was too early to talk about this stuff. I don't need to know about this a year and a half before it happens. Deadass. Like... I thought that we learned our lesson. Like, I thought it was so cool a few years ago when Bethesda had their press conference and they showed Fallout 4 for the first time. They lifted the curtain on Fallout 4 and they said, hey, it's coming out in like 5 months. And I thought that was so great. And I was like, man, like, I hope people like really learn their lesson with this. We just don't need to hear about this shit so far in advance. There's no point. There's no point in telling us all this stuff a year and a half ahead of time. I don't need to be hearing about the fucking teraflops and the 8K resolution and shit like that. I don't know what that means yet. We live in 2019 right now. Fucking hit me up next year. Just weird. Just weird. So, okay, leaving Scarlet behind. And yeah, they don't even give a name. They just end it calling it Project Scarlet. But I do want to give them props because I do think it's nice that they said, hey, like Halo Infinite is going to be a launch title for Scarlet. I really liked that because that gives me peace of mind to buy this thing. That gives me peace of mind to be like, hey, when you bring home your Xbox Infinity or your fucking Xbox 2 or whatever, you're not going to have to play fucking, like, Rise, Son of Rome. You know what I mean?
Ooh, shit.
You're not going to have to play, like, all this garbage. You can come home with your new Xbox and have a Halo game to play on it. So, and we got that Halo Infinite trailer, which was really cool, and it seems like, yeah, again, no gameplay shown, but it is rendered in engine, and in fact... 343 said that actually is like one of the early like cutscenes in the game, like that's lifted straight out of the game.
Awesome.
And it seems like the vibes that it gave off, where it seems like it's kind of going back to its roots a little bit. I mean, you and I like Halo 4 and 5 more than most, but even I could admit that it's nice to kind of see it kind of turn back to a more classic direction.
Yeah.
Master Chief's suit looks a little more in line with how he was in the original trilogy and stuff like that, and it was nice to hear that classic Halo theme again. And
God, that shit was good.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, the fact that we already have a confirmed AAA exclusive launch title really gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
So it's nice that Xbox is already, even though we're learning about this stuff way too early, they're already saying, hey, we're locked and loaded. We're coming into this next generation swinging. The fact of the matter is, if Sony launches with something in their first-party studios that is the same caliber as Halo Infinite, that would be a huge shock. That'd be a huge shock. So it's rare that manufacturers do that. So this was interesting. Double Fine Productions was bought by Xbox Studios. The latest of the big developer acquisitions that Microsoft has been doing. I mean, they bought a shit ton of people within the past couple of years, and Double Fine is the latest to join their ranks. What do you think about that?
In a way, I wasn't surprised.
I know you're not as up Double Fine's ass as I am.
Yeah, I'm not like super up Double Fine's ass like you, because honestly, the main game I do like from them is Psychonauts.
I mean, I'm a huge Double Fine fan. I've played basically all of their games, and
I think I've only played like it's like Psychonauts and like Brutal Legend at that point.
I mean, you played Iron Battalion or Iron Brigade, as they called it.
Iron Brigade, yeah.
So
disgusting.
So I mean, they've made some really good stuff. They made some stuff that I haven't cared for, but they have a very unique style. Like even with some of their like lower tier games, it's like it's interesting at the very least. And it's cool that one of the things. So Double Fine really does a good job of kind of like documenting their development cycles and stuff like that. And one of the things that's always persistent is they have to go around and pitch these. They were an indie studio. They would have to go around and pitch these game ideas to people to get funding for them, right? Be it on Kickstarter or Fig or whatever they did Psychonauts with, or with like random publishers like EA and stuff like that. So it's nice now that Double Fine is owned by Xbox because they never have to worry about doing that again. Now, this is going to come at the cost of like now I have to own an Xbox if I want to play Double Fine games. Okay. So as a major Double Fine fan who buys and plays all of their releases, I'm kind of fucked because now I need an Xbox now.
Yep.
So that being said, it is nice. They have said that they're going to stick to their current obligations. So like Psychonauts 2 and Rad are both still going to be multi-platform games, but it stands to reason that the games coming forward from Double Fine are going to be exclusive to Xbox and PC. We saw Gears 5. We got a new kind of teaser trailer for Gears 5, which is, it's weird to say because the game's less than 3 months away and we're getting a short teaser trailer.
I feel like that is I think that as a game we should have got an actual demo, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to devote, 5-10 minutes to something, make it Gears. I mean, this is your big fall game, and I feel like you haven't shown us anything.
Like what we did see, it was it wasn't even a demo of that, and so obviously I think gameplay came out like afterwards.
Yeah, but it wasn't on the stage.
Of that new what's the new game mode called?
The escape mode or whatever.
Yeah, which sounds fun, honestly. But I mean, personally, at this point, I don't really play Gears for the multiplayer shit. I play Gears for the story.
Well, and the bummer about it is I'm sure Gears 5 is going to be like awesome.
Yeah.
Like Gears 5, like I really, really liked Gears 4's campaign a lot. And even the multiplayer was good. I mean, I didn't get like super into it, but I could recognize that it was good. And they're doing some really interesting things like the escape mode and stuff like that with Gears 5. And it's just kind of a bummer. I feel like Microsoft isn't backing their boy here. I mean, if you're going to give anybody screen time, shouldn't it be Gears? I mean, this is your major fall exclusive for 2019, and you've given it no time. So I don't know. I mean, it was cool. We got the little production value of going underneath the stage, and it looked like it was like infested and shit like that. That's all cool, but I mean, do we really care that much?
Mm-hmm.
Like clearly you guys aren't like gonna give it any screen time. Anyway, I'm skipping through some of this stuff. I'm pretty much just touching on the things that we cared about. It was actually kind of cool to see Battletoads. We still don't have any release date details, but it was cool to see that they're actually giving it kind of a Saturday morning cartoon vibe to Battletoads. That game's gonna be hard as fuck.
I think even when they were at one point, you were just like, oh, they're bringing this bullshit back.
Yeah, they showed a section that looks very much like the infamous sewer stage.
Yeah.
The speeder bike stages in the original Battletoads, they're bringing that back. That's back in full force, so be hyped for that. Can we stop for a second and talk about Microsoft Flight Simulator?
Yeah, what the fuck?
That's gotta be a next-gen title. And I
It
called
has to
that,
be.
even like as we were seeing it, I was like, okay, this is not coming out on Xbox One. Like, this is an Xbox 2, Xbox Infinite, or whatever game, because it's a gorgeous flight simulation game where it looks like they have somehow, like, they said that they were utilizing, like, satellite imagery, and they have somehow, like, replicated just the entire fucking world. Like, it looks like you can just fly around the world. Like, they showed you flying through, like, Seattle and Africa and, like, the Antarctic. And it was all rendered in, like, high fidelity. And I'm like, how is this possible?
Mm-hmm.
So that was very interesting. And if they pull that off, I mean, I could see myself picking that up just to jump in and just fly around. And just you know, be like, hey, I'm going to, like, fly over Seattle today. I'm going to fly over the UK today. Just very interesting. I want to get your thoughts on this because you're a fan of this series. I'm not necessarily. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, coming in 2020. We know that it's an action RPG, even though the trailer didn't do much to show that to us.
No, not at all.
But I mean, what are your thoughts on that? You're a Dragon Ball fan.
I'm probably gonna pick it up, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was enough for them to just come out and say, like, hey, this is Dragon Ball, it's an action RPG. That was enough to sell you on it, huh?
Action RPG, mainly.
Yeah.
I'm like, hello. I've been in the mood for a good Dragon Ball game.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think it looks cool for the Dragon Ball fans. It's cool that, like, consistently they're putting out really good Dragon Ball games. Like, apparently Dragon Ball FighterZ is, like, amazing. So, gotta give it to them on that. I wish that they had shown off, like, if it's coming out in 2020 or whatever, like, and you're saying it's an action RPG, like, show it to me.
Mm-hmm.
There were segments that looked like gameplay, but it just looked like a fighting game to me. I was speculating. I was like, is this another Budokai game? Because that's what it looked like to me. So we got that. We got another little trailer for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is not coming out until February 11th. Way further than I thought. I mean, they've taken their sweet time on this game. I mean, look, I loved Ori and the Blind Forest. They took their sweet time on that game. And the game turned out phenomenally. So as long as the game's good, you can take as long as you want. February 11th, I'm good with waiting on that. We saw some more footage from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I do want to kind of stop and talk about that because we got our first glimpse of it during the EA Play on Saturday, where we got a little, like, 15-minute or so demo of it. But we got some more footage of it on Microsoft stage. What are your impressions of what we've seen of Fallen Order?
I mean, I enjoy all of it personally. Like, I'm super ready for that game.
Bruh. He force grabbed a stormtrooper after he fired a shot at him and then moved his body in front of the shot.
I loved every second of it. It was beautiful.
I was like, yes.
And you gotta understand, he did that force slow or force freeze, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that kind of shit that kind of Kylo Ren does in The Force Awakens. Yeah. Where he, like, stops the blaster bolt and slows it down, and then he pulls the stormtrooper to him and moved his body in front of his own bullet and effectively made him shoot himself.
Absolutely incredible.
This is the kind of dumb shit I can do with the force powers in this game. I'm on board with this. And the combat just looks so fun. Like, the combat looks, like, thoughtful and considered and Souls-like. You know, like, I got very big, like, Souls vibes from it. And interestingly, and I was watching some developer interviews, they're saying that the two biggest inspirations for this game are Dark Souls and Metroid.
Okay.
There's a big component of you can, at will, go to all of the planets in the game. You're going to have your own ship. You can, go back and forth between the planets at will. And there are going to be certain things that you can't access on this planet until you are much later in the game, then you have to go back.
Okay.
So, seems interesting. Seems like there's actually, a lot of people were worried that it was going to be really linear, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be linear at all. They showed kind of a vertical slice Interestingly, with Saw Gerrera, our favorite Star Wars character, Jin. They show they showed him, and that was interesting. Interesting to see him there. I wonder what other prominent Star Wars characters are going to see in this game. Could it be possible that we see, we see some more classic Star Wars characters? Could we see Ahsoka Tano in this game, Todd?
I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be cool.
If there's ever going to be a situation where they can incorporate like kind of more famous Star Wars characters, this game is a good place to do it, I think. It was cool to see Saw Gerrera. I hope they don't go like stupid about it, but anyway, I feel very, very confident in this game, which is nice because now that we've seen gameplay, I'm like, fuck. Finally, a good Star Wars game. You know, we all instantly fell in love with BD1, the little companion droid. So that was, he's very cute. We know that you can customize him and the lightsaber. So you can customize your lightsaber color. There are going to be different outfits in the game, and just seems like it's going to be just a good ass Star Wars game. And I'm very, very happy.
Again, it's our final hope.
Very, very happy. So this was interesting. August 30th, Todd, we're getting a Blair Witch game. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was very weird. Like, watching it, I think both of us were like, was this Outlast?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was, I mean, there was so much to assume that it was Outlast, down to, like, holding the camera and everything like that. And then, like, when the trailer ends, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, Outlast 3 looks good. And then...
it pans up like over this forest.
Yeah, it pans out through this forest, and we see. I was like, "Wait a minute, is that the Blair Witch symbol?"
And then Blair Witch pops up. It's like, oh, okay.
Because I was like, either that's dead ass the Blair Witch symbol, or it's very close, and they're just ripping off the Blair Witch with this one. But no, it's straight up. It is a Blair Witch game. So that's really interesting. I mean, nobody saw that coming. And I'll be interested to see if it's any good. I mean, look, I'm always in the mood for a good horror game, Todd. Always. Always, always, always. If that game turns out that it's good, maybe we'll bring the Holo streams back this year. And we'll stream it. For
oh, Lord, the Holo stream.
Yes. So, one last thing I want to touch on before... There's several other things. I mean, we already kind of touched on a lot of the major stuff, I think, that I wanted to touch on for Xbox's conference. Couple little things. So they showed off Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, which I'm very excited about, coming in 2020, which is going to be all 9 films inside of one game. That makes me very happy. We saw a little indie game called Spiritfarer, which looks really cool. Kind of a 2D, gorgeously animated, looks like it's something of a platform adventure game. It looks really, really cool. They showed off that weird game, The Legend of Wright, which is like an RPG that looks like it's like a kid's drawing in a notebook.
Yeah.
That was interesting. We got a look at 12 Minutes, which is this like time loop interactive thriller that looks really cool. So they showed off a lot of stuff. This is where they revealed, they had a new trailer for Borderlands 3, and this is where they revealed the DLC, the free DLC for Borderlands 2. Which is already out. You've already played through it. I think we should wait until next week to get your review on that. I don't want to smush that review into this E3 talk, so let's save that for next week's show. So look forward to that. We'll get Todd's full review of, what's it called? Is it called Commander Lilith and the Battle for Sanctuary?
Basically, yeah. Some shit like that.
Something like that. We'll get Todd's full review of that next week on the show. We just want to dedicate this one purely to E3. The last thing I kind of want to touch on before we move on from Microsoft is the fucking Game Pass, man.
Yeah, holy fuck.
Like, Xbox Game Pass is such an insane deal. Like, and they have now finally detailed the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, where for $14.99 a month, you get access to Game Pass on your Xbox. You get access to Game Pass on your PC, which is coming out, I think, in October of this year. They're gonna start rolling that out, and you get Xbox Live Gold, all in one $15 a month package.
What fucking insane!
What a baller deal that is! And by the way, like all of these big games, like Gears 5 and stuff like that, these are coming out day and date on Game Pass. Like, that's awesome. And I tell you what, Like, they're going to sell Xboxes with this thing, man. It's such a smart initiative. And we're already starting to see people copy it. I mean, we'll talk about Ubisoft in a minute, but like Ubisoft's doing their own version of it. Square Enix is now talking about doing their version of Game Pass. Like, people are already starting to copy it. And it makes me wonder, is this going to be kind of the model that a lot of publishers are moving towards? So, anyway, that's about all I've got to say for Microsoft, Todd. Did you have anything you wanted to add before we move on to Bethesda?
No, I think that was it.
All right. Let's move on to Bethesda, Todd. Now, the rest of these discussions, with the exception of maybe Nintendo, are not going to be nearly as long as Microsoft. So let's blaze through Bethesda, because quite frankly, there's not
a lot
that much to talk about. Let's get through my predictions here. So my first prediction was that Doom Eternal will headline the show with a demo and a February 2020 release date. Now, while it was the headlining game of the show, and we did get a substantial demo, the release date was a swing and a miss for me. The game is coming out on November 22nd of this year, which was a huge surprise to me. But the reason that I thought that is I was like, okay, they're going to hang on to this for 2019. I don't want the game to get lost in 2019. And now I'm a little bit worried that it will. I'm a little bit worried for it, because they're putting it out end of the year. I'm a little bit worried that it's going to get lost in the Call of Duty hubbub. Not saying that it's a similar or even the same audience, but I kind of prefer Doom to come out in spring, away from all that shit. But that's not when it's coming out. It's coming out November 22nd. I predicted that The Evil Within 3 was going to be announced and dated for this October, which it was a little bit weird that it wasn't, because they actually flew Shinji Mikami all the way out to E3 this year. And I thought maybe, hey, like, they're going to showcase Evil Within 3. And nope. He was there for a different reason, which we will cover later. Fallout 76, finally, Todd, something I get right. Fallout 76 will receive a game-changing expansion this fall. So finally, hashtag Seth was right on something for Bethesda. Fallout 76 is actually getting 2 major updates for free during the bottom half of 2019. They're getting the Wastelanders expansion and the Nuclear Winter expansion. The former finally adds things to the game, like actual NPCs, while the latter adds an interesting-looking Battle Royale mode. I don't know how many people care about Fallout 76, but there you go.
There are people that do.
They exist. You know, it's not just the hype men that Bethesda paid to be at the front of the crowd cheering at everything. Ooh. God, that was bad. I'll talk about that in a second. Rage 2 is given a spotlight, showing the upcoming Rise of the Ghost expansion, which, you know, swish on that one. Seth was right. Safe bet, but, you know, we did get a brand new trailer for the Rise of the Ghost expansion, and Rage 2 got plenty of screen time. Arcane Studios reveals a new IP that is not related to Dishonored or Prey, and no release date is given. Hashtag Seth was right. They revealed Deathloop. It looks amazing, and no release date was given. My crazy prediction was that Todd Howard, despite saying otherwise, was going to come on stage and talk about Elder Scrolls or Starfield. And blessedly, Todd, I was wrong on that one. Conference may have mostly been a big, stupid waste of time, but at least they were smart about one decision. So with that out of the way, thoughts on Bethesda?
Doom.
Doom looks great.
That's the only thing I gave a shit about, honestly.
My big takeaway, so I think Doom looks great. I think Deathloop looks great. I'm really interested in Ghostwire Tokyo. That's
the only other thing that I cared about, honestly.
Ghostwire Tokyo looks really cool. They you know, I forget the woman's name, but so the reason that Shinji Mikami was there, this is the next game from Tango Gameworks, and he took the stage and sort of passed the torch along to his protege, who is the creative director of this game, this adorable woman that everybody's fallen in love with, who was very nervous to announce her game, and we got a really cool... I mean, that Ghostwire Tokyo trailer is fire, dude. I mean, it's a really cool trailer. It looks very interesting. Not necessarily a survival horror game. Seems like it's a futuristic action-adventure game where, like, it looks like you're just playing as, like, the fucking Ronin, man. Looks awesome. And then Deathloop, like Arcane's new game.
By the way, her name's Ikumi Nakamura.
There you go. Adorable woman. Shout out to her.
It's spooky.
It's spooky. Yeah. Arcane's new game, Deathloop, looks and sounds rad. Which is weird. I sort of thought that it was going to be like a 1v1 PvP game, but no. Like, it doesn't seem that way. It seems like the story itself revolves around the time loop mechanic, but they have said that it's going to be similar to Dishonored and Prey, and that it's going to be kind of an immersive sim game with meticulously designed levels. Okay. But the story is all about these two characters and the time loop that they are stuck in.
Interesting.
So very interesting. Of course, Doom Eternal is what brought the house down.
Again, the entire time we're watching that demo, I'm just going, my dick.
I mean, the game looks awesome. I mean, we knew it was going to be awesome. It's Doom, and we got a little bit of the multiplayer. It's kind of being handled a little bit differently now, where 2 players control demons versus 1 person controlling the Doom guy.
Well, yeah, that shit looks fun. Actually, I wouldn't mind like messing around. I probably wouldn't play it all the time, but I wouldn't mind messing with it.
Yeah, fuck around with it. Yeah.
No.
We got that Fallout 76 news that I talked about. I don't really have much to add to that. Again, can we just address like the most annoying shit with this conference was they had hype men, they had like Bethesda employees in the front row that were just cheering over everything, dude. Everything. Mm-hmm. It was so annoying. And Ubisoft did something similar. But like, God, it was annoying. Like, nobody's this excited about Fallout 76. I'm sorry. Not even the people that play it every day are this excited about it. So, that's cool. I mean, I'm glad that they haven't given up the ghost on Fallout 76. I'm glad that they're supporting that game for the people that do legitimately care and do play it. If you're going to add NPCs to the game, you should have fucking shipped the game with NPCs in it.
I even said that. I was like, oh, yeah, everybody getting excited for shit that should have been in the game?
Yeah, it's like, and they're trying to give some kind of horseshit, like, well, yeah, you've spent the past year reclaiming the wasteland, and now it's safe for them to come back. Fuck you. Fuck you. That's not why. This is just you backpedaling because you know that it's something that people wanted. That's all that is.
So much hate.
Well, and can we just say
that fuck you was like so visceral.
I'm sorry. So can we just say there was no need for Bethesda to have a conference this year whatsoever.
Not at all.
We just talked about things that look great. So we talked about Doom, we talked about Ghostwire Tokyo, we talked about Deathloop. Those games all look great. One of them is coming out this year. The only other thing they talked about was fucking, oh, cool, like Elder Scrolls Blades is coming to Switch. Who gives a shit? Oh, like we shat on the corpse of Commander Keen by making it a bad mobile game. Oh, we've got some like streaming technology called Orion, which was such a bizarre announcement. And then they're like, oh, hey, like lady with a fucking like clearly staged like piece of hardware, come and demonstrate Doom running on your phone using the Orion technology. I'm like, why are you showing this at E3? This isn't GDC. This isn't CES. Why are you showing this here? Who gives a fuck about your streaming technology? Nobody cares. What's the end game with this? Like, is Orion supposed to be a platform that you sell to other people to then, like, for them to stream their games on? Or are you just saying that Bethesda games are going to stream on Orion? I don't get it. The marketing was so mixed because, spoilers, Microsoft has their own streaming shit, so they're not going to buy from you. And Google Stadia is doing their own thing, so they're not going to buy from you. So who the fuck are you selling it to? Sony's already ponied up with Microsoft with Azure. Nintendo's already in bed with Microsoft. Who'd you make this for? Anyway. That announcement made no sense to me. So, let me just break this down for you. Orion had no place at the conference. Commander Keen looks like shit. And there are a lot of like old school Commander Keen fans who are fucking furious. They showcased Rage and like Wolfenstein, which there's like nothing to show off for those games because Wolfenstein comes out in a month and Rage is already out. Mm-hmm. They showed off Elder Scrolls Blades coming to Switch, which, like, who gives a shit? Who really gives a shit? Fallout 76. Okay, that could have been, like, just a headline on Kotaku one day. Doom. They're taking Doom Eternal to QuakeCon this year, and they're calling it, like, DoomCon, and they're showing off more Doom Eternal there. So why didn't you just announce the release date there?
Could have just did that at DoomCon.
Yeah, you're calling it DoomCon and shit already. You could have just done all of this there. You didn't have to be at E3 this year. Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, you didn't have to show them this year. You don't have a release date. You don't have any gameplay. There was no point for you to be here at this conference. No point whatsoever. Fucking infuriating. And I knew we knew coming into this that they were not going to have anything to show, which is why it was so hard to even put predictions together for Bethesda, because I'm like, I have no idea what they're going to show.
Yep.
And lo and behold, they had nothing to show, and should not have come to E3 this year. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Bethesda this year. Todd, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, sweet boy, you covered it.
For fuck's sake. Now, next year, I think they're gonna pedal back around. They're gonna be like, oh, and here's finally you can see some Ghostwire Tokyo gameplay, and finally you can see some Deathloop gameplay, because hey, like, we can actually show them now, when really we should have held them until this moment in the first place. Pissed me off, Todd.
Honestly, the overall, like, just lack of, like, gameplay demos at the C3 in general.
It's just weird. It's a weird E3. To piggyback off of that statement, Ubisoft is next. Ugh.
No, before you jump into this, with EA not being at this conference, you know, somebody had to pick up that torch of being the worst press conference of E3.
I honestly did not think, if you had told me, if you went back in time, if you went in your fucking DeLorean and you were with Christopher Lloyd and you're like, Seth, it's fucking Ubisoft's gonna be the shittiest conference at E3. I would have been like, no, dude. There's no way.
Because it's funny is, I think deadass is like, these words have come out of your mouth before the conference is, Ubisoft is the most consistent.
They are. Yeah. Usually they are. They are rock solid.
Like, and something went wrong.
It's 2019 in general. It's just like, this was the wrong year. We should have just taken this year off. You know what I mean?
This is like, to me, a bad conference gets me to, like, actually have, like, like a physical response.
Well, and it was so fucking long, dude. Like I said, all these conferences were like an hour and a half long.
And here's the thing. The best part of Ubisoft, well, you know, just do your predictions. Do your predictions, then we'll just jump into this.
My predictions for this were not good. So I'll say this. So when I kind of like made I made my predictions list in a little, you know, Word file, and then I wrote kind of the outcome of them in either green or red. Green if I got them right, red if I got them wrong. A lot of red here, Todd. Because I came into Ubisoft, again, Ubisoft is consistent, right? You know, Ubisoft in recent years has been doing great work, supporting their games, you know, releasing cool new games. I couldn't believe how bad this conference was. Like I said, if you had gone back in time and told me that Ubisoft is going to have the worst conference of E3, I would have been like, you're out of your fucking mind. But it's like, actually, like, it's a landslide loss for Ubisoft. Mm-hmm. A landslide loss, a landslide defeat for Ubisoft in E3 2019. They were awful. They were fucking awful. Even my wife, who doesn't like watch this shit, she came home from work in the middle of the Ubisoft conference. She's like, "Wow, this is a shitty conference." And she doesn't even watch this shit like we do. She doesn't even have anything to gauge it on. She's just like, "This is fucking boring." They're showing nothing.
I wanted to fucking kill myself. Like, I legitimately was just, like, groaning. Like, I was like, what the fuck?
Alright, so my first prediction was that a new multiplayer-focused IP was going to be announced to fill the hole that Skull and Bones left, and that was the first and one of the only #Seth was right moments of the Ubisoft conference, because they announced Roller Champions, which actually people who have gotten hands-on with the game say is actually quite fun. So maybe something to look out for. It's sort of a multiplayer rollerblading sports game. Kind of looks like a Rocket League ripoff a little bit.
It's like Rocket League meets like it's Rocket League meets Road to El Dorado.
Road to El Dorado.
It reminded me of that fucking game, the fucking old school like Aztec fucking game with the fucking ring. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Do you not know what I'm talking about?
Road to El Dorado game?
Dude, no. It's a fucking like the actual like sport that they used to play.
Oh. Okay, I know what you're
talking
talking about. Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
I don't know if they're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking. Okay, I thought you were saying is there like a Road to El Dorado game I don't know about? Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, with the ball and everything.
Yeah.
But gameplay wise, I mean, it's like a rollerblading game, so maybe a little Jet Set Radio vibe to it, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, with like you're holding a ball, you're going in this kind of circular arena, and you're scoring goals on the way, and that's cool. You know, like it looks good. People put hands on it. They say it's fun.
I mean, I'm not gonna play it.
I don't know if I'm gonna really play it. I mean, maybe I'll try it or something like that if they release like a demo or something, or if, I don't know what tact they're going to have with Roller Champions. I don't believe they gave any sort of release date for it. It looks pretty near final. Maybe this is going to be like a big esports push for Ubisoft, but either way, I'll take that W because it's one of the only ones I got. I foolishly predicted that a new Splinter Cell was going to be announced with a 2020 release date and that Michael Ironside was going to come back, but indeed, not a peep about a new Splinter Cell game. Although Ubisoft sure loves to fucking put Sam Fisher in every fucking single one of their other games.
They want to leave you wanting more.
Makes no sense to me. And Jason over at Kotaku, the Oracle, he has said that he has heard nothing. As far as he knows, there's no Splinter Cell game in development. As far as he knows, Splinter Cell's dead. And yet, you're putting Splinter Cell references in literally all of your games. I'm not kidding. Literally all of their games for the past 10 years, whenever since Blacklist came out, all of them have got some sort of Splinter Cell representation in it. All of them. And now they're releasing some shitty Ubisoft mobile game and Sam Fisher's a playable character. It's like, what? What are you doing? I don't understand. You guys are fucking... It makes no sense to me. How are you gonna... You know that people want Splinter Cell. You're gonna have all this Splinter Cell content and you're not gonna deliver on any of it? Fucking douchebags. And then to have your employees on Twitter teasing Splinter Cell, it pisses me off to no end. Splinter Cell fans are angry, and they should be. Just saying. Anyway, I also predicted that a new collaboration with Nintendo would happen, either in the form of Mario plus Rabbids 2, or some sort of Nintendo integration into a new game. Nope, nothing. In fact, there wasn't much in the way of new IP on the Ubisoft stage at all this year. Here's the only other prediction I got right, Todd. I predicted that no mention of the new Assassin's Creed, Beyond Good and Evil 2, or Skull and Bones on the stage. At least Seth was right about that one, Todd. Not a mention of either one of those on the stage. So, hey. I predicted that a new Rayman would be revealed. Very much a sequel to Rayman Origins and Legends. Nope. Didn't get that either. Another year with no Rayman.
You get nothing.
I really do. And I predicted that a new Prince of Persia might be revealed, taking the series back to its more platforming-focused roots. And yeah, no. Wishful thinking, Todd. So, Ubisoft, let's go over some of this. There's not much. We've covered a lot of it. I'll say this, one of the very highlights of the show was the way they opened it, Watch Dogs Legion. I'm actually shocked at how excited I am for Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah. That actually really sold the game for me, because I came into E3 kind of because it got leaked, obviously, and kind of what the game was supposed to be, and hearing it on reading it on paper, I'm like, I don't know, but actually seeing it in action, more than likely going to be picking that game up. So
yeah, it's one of those. So Jason was right. They did indeed delay it. It originally was supposed to come out this year, from what he had heard. And they did delay it to March 6th, 2020, and the leaks were correct. You can recruit any of the NPCs in the game and play as them. You can make an entire team of old ladies if you want to.
I mean, that's more than likely what I want to be doing.
So we got an extensive gameplay demo. It was nice. Clint Hawking took the stage and talked about the game, and a lot of people who put their hands on the game at E3 are saying, like, this is like one of the best games of the show. The game's looking awesome. So I'm very excited for Watch Dogs Legion. I come away from this. That was one of the highlights of their show for me. One of the few highlights. I don't know how to feel about this one, because one of the things they ended the show with was a new adventure game called Gods and Monsters. Now, this game is a action-adventure game that takes place in a sort of like storybook, fairy tale, Greek god kind of thing, coming out in February of next year, February 25th, has a hard date. And from what we've heard, it's by the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team. So I'm interested, because I love Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But it sounds like it takes heavy inspiration from Breath of the Wild. I'm like, okay. Like, you've got basically two of my favorite games of this generation that you're name dropping here. Cool. I'm on board. Where's the gameplay?
No gameplay.
There was no gameplay. And this game's supposed to come out in February? You have a hard date? And you're giving me no gameplay. Alright. Cool. So, that was basically where my interest peaked and then waned. I'm just scrolling through this news and I'm just like, fuck, who cares? Just Dance 2020 is coming. Of course it is.
Oh god, I wanted to fucking that usually it's Just Dance that gets me like the worst, where I'm just like wanting to die.
Rainbow Six Quarantine was revealed with a teaser trailer, and like fucking BioJade took the stage to talk about it. Apparently it's like a 3-player PvE co-op game coming in early 2020. That's all we know. We got a little teaser.
We got a little bit of For Honor on fucking screen, which was just like the most that didn't even need to be there.
A little bit of For Honor.
Talking about some talking about like a limited time event. I'm like, who gives a fuck? I like For Honor, but fuck you.
Spent like a good 5 to 10 minutes on Rainbow Six Siege's next season.
I mean, even then, that was still more than what For Honor got. Like, I would have liked to see the new Viking character, which is going to be next. You know,
we got Buddy from Always Sunny doing a TV show that I guess Ubisoft is working with them on. So that's cool. I mean, it was funny.
It looked like it'd be funny, but dude, I'm not gonna watch it on Apple TV.
Yeah, it's like an Apple TV thing, and yeah, it's
like that's kind of where I'm like, if it was on anything else, I'd probably watch it. But I'm like, I'm not gonna. I don't have that shit.
It's called Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet, which is a pretty good name. I do like that.
Iron Grim.
Yeah, and it was funny. I'll say that they showed like some clips from the show. It looks funny, but John Bernthal got up there and showed his face. I'm sick of seeing this dude. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I've got really nothing against him, but I'm just sick of seeing his face. You ever just see a particular actor so much you're just like, fucking this dude again? I'm just sick of seeing John Bernthal's face, Todd. I'm just over him. Anyway, he comes on stage. He's got this beautiful pit bull with him. I don't know why. Why? Why'd he bring the dog on stage?
I don't even think they explained it in the trailer. Like,
no.
Is there a dog in the trailer?
No.
I don't think there was.
There's no dog. The only thing I can think of is that maybe the dog is mind controlling John Bernthal, and that maybe the dog itself is John Bernthal. Maybe John Bernthal is the dog, and that the human body is merely his host.
God.
What do you think about that?
It's the only logical conclusion.
The only logical conclusion is that John Bernthal's fleshy body is the host of this pit bull's sentient mind, and he is using it to announce his video game. So he was up there to talk about Ghost Recon. All right, cool. So that was Ubisoft. Not really anything else to report. And if you're listening to us talk about this, wow, Seth, that doesn't sound like that much. How did they stretch that out to an hour and a half? Well, they found a way.
Oh, Lord knows they found a fucking way.
They found a way. They Drake and Joshed it, as we say.
That shit was like nothing depressed me more than that fucking that conference.
All right, Todd. Things start to pick up a little bit here as we come to the end, the last two conferences. So Square Enix. All right, Square Enix kind of brought the fire this year. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually quite impressed with Square Enix's conference. Now, I'm curious, what was your perspective on Square Enix's conference? Because you are not like a huge Square guy. You don't play JRPGs.
Not really.
So how did you feel about this?
Overall, it was better than Ubisoft.
Well, it was better than Ubisoft, but I mean, you say
overall,
that...
I mean, I didn't mind it because there's still certain games that like were showing up in there that I'm kind of interested in, but
yeah,
nothing crazy.
So let's go over my predictions here. I thought Square actually had a fairly good show. I think it could have been a lot shorter. There were several things that I think... here's the thing about Square, and I said this as we were watching it. They just didn't give a shit. Square was like, hey, like, do you love Dragon Quest? Great. Do you not love Dragon Quest? Also great. Here's 15 minutes of Dragon Quest Builders 2. Fuck you.
Well, that's the one thing that like I think we that I was saying. It's like I hate and respect what they're doing in this conference right now.
Yeah, on one hand, it's like, God, I really don't care about this. On the other hand, it's like, well, they're going for it.
Well, that's what made it. It's like for the shit that you were really interested in, you're like, awesome. This is cool. Like 5-10 minutes on this shit. And then the 5-10 minutes feels really long when you're dealing with something you do not give a single fuck about.
Right, you're exactly right. Because there's certain things where it's like, oh, cool, this is something that's really cool. We're getting a big, lengthy presentation about something that I like. And then it would get to something that you don't care about, which, is most of it. And and then it was like, ugh. But, so I gotta respect Square. I mean, like, look, Square had a reason to be at E3 this year, right? Like, they felt, their presence felt earned. They had an actual live show where, like, people came out and talked, and it was an actual, factual, like, real deal press conference. It was not some bullshit. They had a reason to be there. So let's go over my predictions. So, Final Fantasy VII Remake is shown, is still episodic. The first episode is coming in December. So I'm going to give myself kind of a half point for this one because the game is still episodic in a sense. Square has confirmed that this first release is only going to involve the Midgar portions of the game. And it really seems like this is kind of more of a reimagining than a straight remake because they apparently have added just like a ton to flesh out the Midgar portion of the game to where they're like this is its own game right here. And they're going to expand on that with releases in the future, and they don't even know how far they're going to go with it. So who knows how long it's going to take to get the full story of Final Fantasy VII in this style, honestly. But in the form, in whatever this weird thing is, whatever form this takes, it's coming out March 3rd, 2020. So I was wrong about the release date. I predicted that it was going to come out in December. It's coming out in March. But otherwise, the game looks great. I was very happy to see a lengthy demo for it. People put hands on the game at E3, and everybody that has played it has come away very impressed. Sounds like the combat system is great. The game's gorgeous. Everything looks great. So I'm excited about it. I gotta say, like, I think the gameplay looks phenomenal. I love some of these new designs. We finally got to see Tifa, thank God, and I love Tifa's new design. It's so perfect. The music is amazing. I'm just sort of like, I'm sitting here scratching my head on it a little bit because I'm like, how long is it going to take us to get this full story? I kind of wish that they had just not even committed to telling the full story. Because now they're going to be tied down to working on like completely remaking Final Fantasy VII, which is a big game, Todd. They're going to be working on this for years. I mean, years. And people were asking them, like, so how many releases do you think this is going to be? They're like, we don't know.
Some real shit.
At least 2 or 3. That's like, well, fuck. So, and then that also begs the question, by the time this is all said and done, am I going to be paying like $180 for this game? You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. The whole thing's weird. So anyway, Crystal Dynamics' Avengers Project is shown as a third-person action game with online elements that will allow you to play as a custom character. So I think maybe I take another half point on this because the game was indeed a third-person action game with online elements, but you're actually playing the actual Avengers themselves, not player-made characters. Although you do customize the Avengers, you are playing the actual real characters, the Avengers. What did you think about this?
Wish I saw more.
I don't know, man.
Like,
I don't know what to think about it.
that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I just don't know what to really think about it right now.
I think it sounds ambitious. They announced, what was the date on this one? I think it was in May. Yeah, May 15th, 2020. 5 playable characters: Cap, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Iron Man. Do not look like they do in the movies. They're taking a new tact.
This is their versions.
Right. They say that they're going to be releasing content telling the story of this game over multiple years. It's going to have 4-player online co-op, and every new character and scenario added to the game will be for free. No random loot boxes or pay-to-win scenarios. This all sounds great.
Again, it's cool to hear all that, but it's like, what's the game?
We got little snippets of gameplay. Now, here's the deal. There were people who got to see kind of a behind closed doors demo of this game. If you go out and you listen to previews and stuff that people are talking about, things they got to see during E3, and it's not sounding good. They said that they, like, basically unilaterally, everybody that saw the Avengers game said that it's looking rough. So, who knows? I mean, maybe the game will dramatically change. I mean, it's almost a year out. So, I mean, it's still got plenty of time to shape up. So, I don't know. We'll see. But I gotta be honest. I don't know. I got a weird vibe from the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing gave me a weird vibe. I feel like that game's gonna get delayed and it's gonna need some more time in the oven. It's gonna actually end up being like a next gen game. But we'll see.
I'm completely fine with that. So
as am I. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to call the kettle black or anything like that. Kingdom Hearts 3's Remind DLC gets a new trailer and a late 2019 release date, and it will not include any of the new Disney worlds. That was a safe bet on my part, but hey, it was still a swish. This DLC, basically exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's a new little scenario that kind of takes place towards the end of the game. It's going to kind of expand upon the game's ending like a tad bit. It's nothing nothing like substantial, and it certainly does not add any new Disney worlds to the game. Dragon Quest XI is shown and dated for Switch. Now, it was weird because they just said fall 2019 during their conference, but then later for Nintendo they gave a hard date of September. So, all right, that was weird. I predicted that Nier 3 was going to be revealed, and no, not a peep about a new Nier game. Sorry, Todd. Yoko Taro works when he damn well pleases. Sorry. Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross are getting ported to modern consoles, including Switch. Did not happen, although Square did recently say that they are like actively working to get all of their classic games ported to modern consoles. So there is hope. And they certainly, we'll talk about this as we go through some of the news, but they're certainly doing good work porting their older games. And then I predicted that Final Fantasy 16 was going to be announced much, much too early. So I'm proud of them. I'm proud of their restraint to not immediately announce Final Fantasy 16. No word on that. So let's go through some of this stuff. So for Square here, we already talked about Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Final Fantasy 8 is getting a remaster, coming out on PS4, Switch, Xbox One, and PC this year. So that's cool. It's cool because basically all of the kind of like 3D Final Fantasy games at this point are going to be available on modern consoles. Everything from 7 on, essentially, is going to be available on modern consoles, which is nice. Like, that's nice to see. America is finally getting a port of Romancing Saga 3. If you care about that sort of thing, a lot of these kind of like, you know, previously Japan-only games are finally getting like localized. Now, this is interesting. Outriders.
That is one of the few things that did catch my eye at Square Enix. Coming in summer of 2020 from People Can Fly. It is a 1 to 3 player cooperative shooter. Square Enix calls it a journey across a dark and desperate sci-fi world in search of the source of a mysterious signal.
And Square says we'll hear more about the game this winter, presumably at the Game Awards. So,
Yeah.
coming next summer for current-gen consoles. We didn't really see much of it. Looks like it's a third-person shooter from what we can tell, because we kind of saw
we saw like a snippet of like some dude on a computer.
Yeah, we saw like a weird dev diary or something like that.
Yeah.
Where we kind of got a glimpse of his computer and it looked like he was playing it. That interesting game from Tokyo RPG Factory, Oninaki, is coming August 22nd. We were both a little bit blindsided by this because
it looked completely different.
Yeah, didn't it look different to you?
Yeah.
I thought it looked different too. I was wondering as we were watching this, I was like, we were watching this trailer and I was like, wait a minute. This is that game that they showed off like a while ago that looked really cool, and now it looks different for some reason.
Yeah, it was weird.
I'm interested in that game. I hope it's good. I mean, I Am Setsuna was good. Lost Sphere, I heard, was alright. I didn't play it. And I think Oninaki looks cool. I don't know what they did to make it look different, but it was night and day for me for some reason. Like, I thought it was a totally different game until we got to like the title. Anyway, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered coming out this winter, so that's cool. The Last Remnant Remastered was a shadow drop on Switch, so that's cool. And yeah, that's the bulk of the announcements here. I mean, it was a lot of like ports, a lot of news on their big games. Like, we spent some time with Avengers, we spent some time with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and honestly, I thought it was just a solid conference overall. This was at least a publisher that had a reason to be there. And I think after seeing Bethesda and Ubisoft, I was like just happy enough with that. Any final thoughts on Square before we move on to Nintendo?
Not really.
All right. Now, Nintendo saved the day, Todd.
It did. Nintendo definitely did.
We came into Nintendo's E3 2019 Direct and we were like, fuck, Nintendo, please. Please save this E3. Mighty Nintendo, please save this E3. Because it has just been a downer of a year so far. Some highlights. You know, Keanu Reeves can only do so much, Nintendo. Please help him out. Fucking throw Keanu Reeves a bone, Nintendo. And they did. Because I gotta say, I don't know about you, but for me, and no secret, spoilers, I'm the big Nintendo fan. The big Nintendo-year-old of the group here, but I really think that this was like one of their best Nintendo Directs of all time. I thought this was an awesome Direct.
I can agree with that, honestly.
Like, I loved it. It was a great Direct. It was a tight 40 minutes. It was not overly long. Was not like an hour and a half long. They showed a lot of stuff, had a lot of surprises. Now, I came into this. I was feeling a little bit deflated because obviously at Microsoft's conference there's no Banjo announcement, right? So every year, and Todd knows this, I've been doing this for the past like 10 fucking years. Every year, I bring out my Banjo totems, my spiritual effigies, and I conjure all of my magic and all of my spiritual, physical energy, and I try to will a new Banjo-Kazooie game into existence.
Just something. Just will anything. Banjo into existence.
Literally anything.
And I'm an asshole. I just you're never going to get it. Never.
And leading up to this, I was like, Todd, and you guys heard me on the show last week. It's Banjo's time, dude. I was like, it's Banjo's time. He's gonna be a fighter in Smash, Todd. Take it to the bank. My faith is unwavering, bitch. And you're like, no, your dream's gonna be crushed. Blah blah blah. Now, they open. I'm saying all this before we get to my predictions because this was just. I gotta talk about this moment.
It was too important of a moment.
Now they open this press conference with a Smash. I was like, oh shit, they're opening with Smash. They're opening with Banjo. Fucking cool. Let's go, right? And they reveal that it's not Banjo. It's the hero from Dragon Quest. Okay. Which, I was slightly happy to see him because...
I'll say this. I will say this just talking about that. I think he looks fun. I'll probably fuck with him.
I think he looks cool too. I'm absolutely gonna try him out. I think the Dragon Quest support looks really cool. It's one of those things. It is what Smash Brothers does so well. I've never been a Dragon Quest fan, but I kind of want to check out Dragon Quest XI on Switch and give the series a real shot. And that's what Smash does so well. It makes you want to check out the source material, you know?
Yeah.
Especially for a Nintendo fan like me, like I pride myself in being pretty knowledgeable about every person on that like 800 character roster. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty knowledgeable about every single one of them. And so when they're adding like the hero from Dragon Quest, I kind of want to play Dragon Quest now. And that's kind of the magic of Smash. And it's cool that Dragon Quest is getting some love in that regard. The stage looks cool. You know, we see the slimes. We see he's going to have this character is going to have different skins for heroes from several of the past games, which is a nice little touch.
Yeah.
So very, very cool. And I was like, all right, well, I guess they're going to end this trailer with Banjo then. And no, it just ended, right? And I think at that point you were probably twisting your villainous mustache.
I was like, they can't do another one.
But they did do another one, Todd.
Oh, they did. They definitely did.
Near the end of the Direct, we saw, and you know, it was obvious it was going to be a Smash-related trailer because it starts off. This was a direct parody almost of the King K. Rool trailer. Mm-hmm. So it starts off. You can tell it's like a Smash trailer, and it's King K. Rool, Diddy, and Donkey Kong like kind of sleeping in Donkey Kong's hut, and you see a Jiggy roll by, and I kid you not.
It's already at this point that he freaked the fuck out. He was already freaking out.
I saw the Jiggy, and I leapt from my chair. Now, I gotta explain to you. I don't get excited about shit like that. Like, that's not the type of motherfucker I am. I can be excited about something. I can like raise my voice and clap and stuff like that. I'm not. It is rare that something gets a physical, uncontrollable response. I don't even recall jumping out of my chair, but I did. My body, with just the pure force of spirit energy, was raised from my chair.
I'm the only one here only one that can truly understand how excited that this man got. Like, it was incredible.
And then
like, I was excited for him, type of shit.
You say that, but the whole time you were working against me.
Shut the fuck up.
You're sitting
I troll you.
You're sitting there saying, I hope your hopes and dreams are shattered.
Just because it'd be funny.
No, but then we see the glorious silhouette of Banjo-Kazooie, right? And they did the fake out just like they did with King K. Rool, where it's Duck Hunt, and he's like laughing and shit, and it's like, oh my god. But I knew they're not gonna do that, and then like just not have Banjo-Kazooie, right? And then Banjo comes flying through the air, smacks Duck Hunt Dog with a fucking banjo, and we see gameplay, and it's fucking magnificent. Banjo-Kazooie raring to go. Come on, let's fucking go, Todd. Oh my god. I'm trying to be subdued because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and I live in an apartment complex. But even now, just talking about it, I just want to hoop and holler. I'm so excited. I'm so fucking excited. Banjo... This is like... It's hard for me to express how important this is for me. Because Banjo-Kazooie... And you guys know this if you listen to this podcast for a long time. One of my favorite games of all time. Like, top 5 favorite games of all time. Mm-hmm. And, like, people have really forgotten about Banjo. Like, over the years, you know, there are the diehard fans who were there in the N64 days and stuff. But by and large, you know, all of these classic franchises, a lot of them have kind of seen new life. I mean, we talk about Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. Banjo has not had that chance. And now he's getting that chance. Banjo is finally getting a chance for people to learn about him again. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier with the Dragon Quest support. People are going to see Banjo and say, oh, well, what's going on with this? And they're going to go back and play Banjo-Kazooie and realize that it's one of the greatest games of all time. It's like, hey, like, by the way, Banjo-Kazooie is the greatest N64 game. Yes, I went there. It's better than Super Mario 64. Banjo-Kazooie is the best N64 game, point blank, period. Not even close. And like, that game is it's still so good. And you can play it on your Xbox, and I encourage you to do that if you're an Xbox owner. It's on Game Pass, it's on Rare Replay. You could buy it on Xbox Live Arcade. Like, do yourself a favor. That game is fucking immaculate. And the only way this announcement would have been better is if they said that, hey, those games are coming to Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's only a matter of time. I really do. I think that they're going to take the Xbox Live Arcade ports and port them to Switch. I really do think that. Because it just makes so much sense. How are you going to have Banjo and Smash and not have the games available on a Nintendo system? I really hope that they go that extra mile and they get Banjo-Kazooie on Switch. And Banjo-Tooie. Both games on Switch. God, I would die. I would love to have those games on Switch. Are you fucking kidding me, Todd? But it was just one of those moments where I was like, finally, dude, vindication. I have been, like, carrying this Banjo torch for so many years, and to finally see, I can finally rest. After we got off the Skype call that day, I took the best nap of my life. With the weight of Banjo off of my shoulders. Good God. I'm so happy. And it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't give a fuck who they announce for Smash anymore. I got my boy. Like, this is all I've ever cared about. And it looks so good. And, like, I feel so bad for Sakurai because you can tell that they're showing this off way earlier than they wanted to. Because, like, they showed off the Spiral Mountain stage and you can tell it's early in development. It looks a little rough, but they did it for the fans. They showed it off anyway. You know? Mm-hmm. It's going to be way more polished when it finally comes out this fall. And, like, I'm like, man, they did it anyway. Grant Kirkhope is back doing a fucking killer remix of the Spiral Mountain theme. It was awesome, incorporating different elements from all of the theme songs from all of the different worlds. And, man, so good. Just everything about it, so good. His moveset looks fucking killer. I love his render. I love the way they make him look in the game. I love the fact that I'm going to get a Banjo amiibo. Fuck. I'm so happy. He looks perfect. Like, not only is my number one pick for Super Smash Bros. Finally in the game, finally coming, he looks perfect. You got Grunty flying around the stage. You got the Ginginator final smash. Oh. It looks... I couldn't be happier. I could not be happier. And I'm ready to mop the fucking floor with you as Banjo and Kazooie.
You can try, boy. No.
And I've always said, I don't care how bad they are. I don't care if they're considered like a fucking Z-list character. That's my main. Always and forever, that's my main. Anyway, had to get that out of the way at the top. Because that was just the most exciting part of a very exciting Direct. So let's go over my prediction here. So, my first prediction was that Erdrick from Dragon Quest and Banjo-Kazooie would be announced as DLC fighters. So that's 2 points, baby! We got both of them. Dragon Quest Heroes coming this summer. Banjo's coming this fall. Boom, boom. We got it. So, my next prediction was that Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming this October, and that a Luigi amiibo will be announced, and that the game will feature a strong multiplayer element. This is kind of a half-point situation. The game does feature a strong multiplayer element, both co-op and competitive, but a hard release date was not given at the show, surprisingly. I don't know why, because they said it was coming out in 2019, so I don't know why they didn't just give a hard release date. It's gotta be October, dude. It's gotta be October.
And more than likely it's going to be October.
It has to be. Nothing else makes sense. It has to be October. And I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with another Direct in, like, September or something like that. Like, August, September, they're going to have another Direct. They're going to give it its final release date, and then they're going to announce this amiibo, and it's going to be too fucking late, because I've already taken the half-point L on this. Fuck you, Nintendo. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I watched the Treehouse did, like, a 30-minute demo of Luigi's Mansion 3, and we saw some gameplay during this Direct. I think the game looks fucking delightful. Like, I'm so on board with this. It looks great. Like, I kind of wish that you were more into it, because I would actually like to play the multiplayer with you, but I understand it's not really your cup of tea. I'm very excited for Luigi's Mansion 3. Like, that's a day one purchase right there. Looks like it's going to be much more in line with Luigi's Mansion 1 versus 2. 2 was cool, but it was, like, kind of more mission-based, whereas 1 was, like, kind of a free-roaming kind of exploration game. All taking place inside of, like, one big mansion. It looks like this is kind of going back to that, except it's going to be a hotel. I think it looks phenomenal. Very excited for that. My next prediction, Link's Awakening remake is dated for November. A new Link amiibo is coming. This is another half point because I missed the mark on the release date. It's actually coming way earlier than I expected. It's coming September 20th, which means that you're not going to play it. But a Link amiibo was announced for the game, so I will take that half point. September's the wrong time to release it for you.
Oh, for me, oh yeah. Like, September's already, I mean, it's like, not many games are coming out for me, but there are two big things coming out for me.
I mean, you got Monster Hunter Iceborne on the 6th of September, right there at the beginning of the month, and then the next week you got Borderlands 3. It doesn't get bigger than that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Those are
It's
your
over
two
with.
biggest games, really, period. So for Link's Awakening to be coming out a week after Borderlands, yeah, you're not going to play Link's Awakening.
And again, I did have an interest until I saw the release date. I was like,
Yeah. That was a bummer. Like when I saw that release date, I was like, well, Todd's not playing Link's Awakening. Damn it.
It's like maybe it'll be one of those things that like once everything's kind of dead, maybe I'll like buy it and shit. But I don't know.
I'm still going to be there day one. I can't wait for that game. I think it looks awesome. Everybody that played it at E3 came away very positive from it, so I can't wait. Animal Crossing will be a major focus of the Direct. We'll get a full reveal with a soft holiday 2019 release date, but a lot of the details will be held back for an Animal Crossing focused Direct in September. So yeah, not quite. We did get a full reveal. It's called Animal Crossing New Horizons. Full announcement, but it is the game was delayed to March 20th, 2020. So, what did you make of this? Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I haven't played an Animal Crossing game since like the first one.
Is this going to get you to come back?
I've been saying this for a while that this might be the one where I finally jump back into.
Right.
And I mean, what we saw, man, I'm down.
I encourage you to, if you have like 30 minutes laying around, watch the Treehouse presentation, because they actually did, like, they showed off the first gameplay for New Horizons, and it looks great. Like, it's got some actually like good changes for people who are Animal Crossing fans, like little things. Like a huge one for me, now you can actually pick where villagers are going to build their houses. Thank fucking God.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty solid.
That's a huge deal. You can also now, there's actually a crafting element to it now. So they've actually got a little bit of like Minecraft in there now at this point. Or really, I should say, they've taken a little bit of Stardew Valley inspiration at this point. Because now, when you chop down the trees, you're gathering wood. You can use that wood to build your furniture. You can place that furniture outside and stuff like that. So it seems like the focus with this is you're on a sort of deserted island, and rather than in Animal Crossing's past, you've always shown up to a town that was already there, right? And this one, you're really building up your own island from scratch. So I think that's really fucking cool. And it's going to be very like customizable, I think, and I think it has the potential to be very exciting. There is going to be full online co-op and local co-op. There's going to be the potential for you and I to have our own islands. We can make an island together. I mean, the hours that I'm going to lose in that game is going to be unprecedented. It's going to be fucking crazy. And the game looks great. Take your time with that game. You know what I mean? If you have to delay it to March, delay it to March. Take your time. But it already looks phenomenal. Like, in terms of the graphics, it's beautiful. The sound is great. It looks just as cute as it always has. I can't wait. March 20th. Cannot come fast enough. The new game from Retro Studios is finally revealed. That's a swing and a miss. We're still no closer to knowing about what Retro has been doing, by the way, for the past 5 years. Like, Tropical Freeze released 5 years ago. We have no idea what Retro has been up to since then. We know that they recently took the reins of Metroid Prime 4, but what have they been working on before then? We heard something about like a Star Fox Grand Prix game that was being worked on and basically done. In fact, there were rumors that it was going to be ready for the Switch's launch in 2017 and never happened. So, what's going on? Like, what's really going on? So, I don't know what's happening at Retro. And then my crazy prediction was that every notable Wii U game that has not yet been ported to the Switch is coming. So, like Metroid Prime Trilogy, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Mario 3D World, Pikmin 3. This did not happen. I still have faith that all of these games are going to make their way over eventually. These are really the last few Wii U games that still need to get ported. The Zelda games especially, there's no business leaving them stranded on the Wii U. Port them over to the Switch. I beg you. I beg of you. We need them on the Switch. Now let's go over some of this stuff here, because we've covered a lot of it. Daemon X Machina, available September 13th, 2019. Again, a game that you or I are not going to play. That's a bad release date for it. That comes out the same day as Borderlands. Bad release date. I had fun with the demo and everything, but I'm not going to play it. No More Heroes 3 was announced and will arrive in 2020. We got a trailer for that. That was cool. Cool to see like a proper No More Heroes game. We got a new trailer for Pokemon Sword and Shield, which was a little unexpected because we just got that direct, but it showed off this new character that everybody's obsessed over now. Was it Nessa, the water gym leader?
Yes, the new waifu.
The new waifu. So, we're getting a previously untranslated Mana game is coming to Switch twice. So, they're releasing this collection of Mana, which actually was shadow dropped. So this game, Trials of Mana or whatever, the sequel to Secret of Mana, never came to the US. And now, not only is it coming to the US in the collection of Mana, which is already out, but they're remaking it and doing a full remake of it for Switch as well. So, and it actually looks really good. I watched the Treehouse demo of it. It looks really cool. Witcher 3, the complete edition, is coming to Switch this year. Very impressive that they managed to get that game running on Switch. There are obviously graphical and performance differences. The game is only running at 720p on Switch, so, like, whatever. But again, the fact that they even got that massive game on Switch at all is very impressive. Resident Evil 5 and 6 are coming to the Switch, so that's cool. We essentially, at this point, have almost the entire Resident Evil collection on Switch. September 24th, we're getting Contra Rogue Core. Good God.
Holy shit.
Good God, that game looked so bad. I was in shock at how bad that game looked.
That game looked like pure ass.
And it was funny because like I didn't even know what it was at first. And I was like, ew, what is this? And then they started talking about like the Alien Wars. I was like, whoa, this is the new Contra? And then when they finally showed the title, I was like, oh no. This is how far we've fallen?
It looks so bad.
Poor Contra, man. This is what we're doing with the Contra license? Now, to their credit, they did release the Contra Anniversary Collection. Shadow dropped. It's out now. Very cool. I'm not like the world's biggest Contra fan. It's not something that I'm going to go rush out and buy or whatever, but I like Contra. And I respect Contra's legacy. And clearly, they don't. Because, good God, this looks awful. I mean, this looks like a fucking 3DS game. Like, graphically, performance-wise, it looks like shit. It runs like shit. They're making like this weird, like, they're trying to give Contra this kind of like quirky vibe where there's like a panda that you can like play as. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't work. It's bizarre. I can't believe it's real. Like, if you showed me like that trailer out of context, I would have been like, that's fan-made, that's fake.
That's fan-made, that's fake. Ooh.
It looks so bad. This is interesting. They're remaking the first Panzer Dragoon game, and it's coming to the Switch this winter. Are you familiar with these games at all?
I've heard the name.
So
that's about it.
The original Panzer Dragoon came out, I believe, on Dreamcast, and it is an on-rail shooter, very tight controls, where, yeah, you pilot, you're on the back of a dragon. A dragoon. You are a dragoon riding a dragon, and it's just a really solid on-rail shooter, kind of like a Star Foxy, kind of like it's got that kind of vibe to it.
Oh, never mind. I have played. I'm looking at the images from the original game. I have played this.
Yeah. So they had that, and then they had the even better sequel on original Xbox, Panzer Dragoon Orta, which was a fucking fantastic game. And the second that we actually saw like the snippet of gameplay, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is Panzer Dragoon. I knew it was Panzer Dragoon. I didn't know if it was going to be a new one or if it was going to be a remake, and it is. It's a remake of the original. And I'm actually kind of stoked because I haven't thought about Panzer Dragoon in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of down for that. A remake of Panzer Dragoon for Switch, I'm totally cool with that. This was a surprise. So coming this year, a Netflix Dark Crystal series is getting a tactics RPG tie-in game.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics. It's got this kind of claymation graphics. Looks interesting. I don't know if it's something I'll buy.
I just don't care for that. I don't care for that type of game, personally.
I like that type of game every now and then. So, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I think I'm more likely to play... I'll play, like, Fire Emblem before I play that. Anyway, we got a look at John Romero's new studio, their first game, Romero Games. So John Romero, as you know from reading Masters of Doom, one of the creators of Doom, he founded a new studio called Romero Games. Their first game is called Empire of Sin, which is going to be a sort of 1930s crime drama tactical shooter. So that comes out next spring. That's cool. I'm not really super interested, but that's cool. We got a couple of little things like Ni no Kuni coming September 20th. I really want you to play that game. I want you to bear the burden that I've always bared with that game.
Well, you know I've like started playing that game before, right?
Yeah, you told me that you have, but
I've started playing it. It's just it happened to be on a garbage console.
Our shackles need to be polished and renewed on Switch.
Fuck.
Because
playing that game for the rest of my fucking life.
I've always said that. I'll be playing Ni no Kuni for the rest of my life. So I need you to join me in that. But it's coming out in September, so I don't expect that you will.
I'll more than likely still buy it, but it's just going to be something I'll play, like, randomly.
Sporadically for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. I mean, we got a couple of little, we got Cadence of Hyrule that dropped actually today at the time of this recording, and I'll talk about that more next week on the show. I'll have a full review of that because I've already played a couple hours of it, and I'll talk about that next week. And it was just a really, really good Direct. Now, what we need to talk about though is the way they ended it. They ended it with Banjo, and then they said, "Oh, we have one more thing." And I'm already like leaned back in my chair like, fuck. Like, I need a cigarette. You know what I mean? After the Banjo trailer. Like, I felt like I just had sex. I mean, really. And then they said one more thing, and I'm like, wait a minute, Banjo wasn't the one more thing?
Yep, that was pretty good.
That's literally what I said. I thought Banjo was like the one more thing. I thought they were ending the show with Banjo. No. They ended the show with a trailer for a sequel to Breath of the Wild that they're developing. And it looks fucking buck wild. Like, it looks like it's got this really dark tone. It looks like it's essentially going to be the Majora's Mask to Breath of the Wild's Ocarina of Time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, taking the same assets, the same Hyrule. Eiji Aonuma has confirmed that this is going to be the same Hyrule. I have my own thoughts on this. The show's running a little bit long. I don't know if we really want to get into it. I mean, fuck it. I'll spend a few minutes. Fuck it. Let's spend a few minutes. I'm gonna give my thoughts. I'm gonna give you guys my predictions where I think we're going with this. I know we're running a little bit long, but I'm just gonna take a few minutes here to just stop and talk about this. I'm not gonna have a better place to do it. So we see in this trailer Zelda and Link. Again, this is in Breath of the Wild style. They both look a little bit different. Zelda has cut her hair. She has short hair now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which leads a lot of people to think that maybe she might be playable in this. I actually have kind of fallen on the side of her not being playable in this for reasons I'll get into. Things that have come to light over the past few days have made me believe that I don't think is going to be playable in this. Now, we see Link. He's got kind of like a breastplate on his like champion's tunic and stuff. So some time has passed, I think, since the ending of Breath of the Wild, and they're underneath Hyrule Castle, and they come across what looks like it can only be the corpse of Ganondorf. Now, You got to remember, in Breath of the Wild, and you know this, we both played Breath of the Wild, we fought Calamity Ganon. We never fought Ganondorf, right? Like, we never fought the actual dude. So his corpse is there underneath Hyrule Castle, looking like it's being kept at bay by some sort of spectral hand. Okay? Events happen. The sort of like the sort of area starts to capsize, and Link falls, and it looks like the hand that was keeping Ganon at bay grabs Link and saves him, which then releases sort of the Calamity then gets to Ganondorf's corpse and sort of resurrects him, and then we see a shot of Hyrule Castle being lifted into the air, right? And that's pretty much the bulk of what we see. We see a couple of quick shots. There's one quick shot that I want to focus on where Link looks like the kind of like force of the hand is going into his right arm. So I think that is actually something that I'm going to touch on. Here's what I think this game is going to be, Todd. Yes, it's taking place in the same Hyrule, but I think it's going to be a Dark World kind of version of this Hyrule. A much darker tone to this Hyrule than in Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild already kind of had like a desolate, but it's still kind of cozy, right?
Yeah.
Like, even though it was kind of like empty and desolate and stuff like that, like it's still, there were towns, there were NPCs, and there was a little bit of like a cozy vibe. I don't think that's going to be the case with this one. Like, I think this one is going to be very much like Gloom and Doom kind of game. And I feel like literally Hyrule Castle is going to block out the sun. It's going to rise into the air, block out the sun, and turn Hyrule into sort of a Dark World version of Hyrule. And the objective of the game, and I sort of suspect that we're going to see the return of traditional dungeons, because think about it, if this is indeed a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, we don't really have any precedent for there to be shrines coming back.
No.
If you've done all the shrines in Hyrule, and this is the same Hyrule, motherfucker, there ain't no more shrines.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, it wouldn't really make sense for there to be shrines again. Now, I think I think this is going to be the return of traditional dungeons in Zelda. And you know, me personally, I had a lot of fun with the shrines. I thought the shrines were cool. I did them all. I really enjoyed them. A lot of people took issue with them, and a lot of people took issue with the Divine Beasts, and they want traditional-ass Zelda dungeons. And if you played the final DLC for Breath of the Wild, you know that they sort of made, with that other Divine Beast, that kind of felt like a more traditional Zelda dungeon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that was the best one in the game. So now that we're kind of already moving towards that a little bit, I think this is going to be a more traditional Zelda experience. Now what I'm flip-flopping back and forth on is Zelda in this game, because I don't want her to simply be another damsel in distress kind of scenario. I don't want her to play second fiddle in this game, but I don't think she's going to be playable, because if you read some of the interviews that people have been doing with Aonuma, he is not specifically saying yes or no on her being playable, but he's being very he's saying things like, why do people think that? You know? He's like, why do you motherfuckers assume that she's going to be playable? He's like, you saw plenty of her in Breath of the Wild and she wasn't playable. Why do you think she's going to be playable here? At the same time, he's not saying yes or no, but it sort of makes me think that she isn't going to be playable.
Yeah.
I think she might be a prominent NPC.
That's something I could see happening. Like, she's gonna have like a more of a role in the game, but I don't think she's gonna be playable.
Yeah, I had this idea with you, and I think it would be cool if they did this. But now that I'm reading more and more and thinking on it more and more, I don't think they're gonna do it. But how cool would it be if they made it a co-op experience?
Oh, I would. Here's the thing: I would absolutely love every second of that.
That'd be so cool. If I had to, like, gun to my head, I would say that I don't think it's going to be like that. I think this is going to be more of a traditional Zelda experience, because, again, things like the shrines and the Divine Beasts, you can't go back to that. There's no precedent to go back to that. If this is the same Hyrule, there's no it wouldn't make sense to go back to that. So I think this is going to be more of a traditional Zelda experience. I do think that it is still going to be more open-ended than traditional Zelda games. Like, you're not necessarily going to have to do the dungeons to beat the game. I think they're going to maintain that freedom, that element of freedom that Breath of the Wild had. There's still going to be an element of, like, if you really wanted to go and fight Ganon right out the gate, you could. It's not going to go well, but you could try to do it. But no, I think you're still going to be playing as Link. Going back to the hand thing, I think the hand is going to be the major mechanical focus of the game.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some fucked up shit happening with Link's hand, where he's going to be able to do, like, I mean, you could imagine using it in combat. You could imagine using it as, like, a hook shot. I mean, could you imagine, like, flinging that hand out and using it as, like, a hook shot?
I can imagine it, and I can love every fucking second of it.
Like, I feel like you're essentially going to be like fucking Luffy from One Piece, like, in this game. I could kind of see it. Like, Link is going to have this, like, spiritual, like, Sheikah tech hand in this game.
And here's the thing: in a game where you can climb anything,
right? That's an excellent point, because you could use that for traversal mechanics too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of potential with that, and I think that shot that we got of Link reeling back with the spirit hand going into his own arm, I think that was very intentional. If you pay attention to the trailer, there's a lot of focus on hands in the trailer. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be something like, this game is going to be, if I had to guess, the central mechanic is going to involve Link's arm, Link's hand. So that's my speculation for the Breath of the Wild sequel. That's what I got.
Pretty solid.
Just again, Zelda's my favorite series. I'm a massive Zelda fan, and I've watched this trailer about 500 times already. All of that has led me to believe what I've just relayed to you. So anyway, that's about all I've got, Todd. That covers, I think, E3 2019. That covers Nintendo. If you don't have anything else to add, I think we should stick a fork in this episode.
I think that's about it before my cat blows this fucking podcast up.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Another E3 down. We had we had its ups, it had its downs, but you know what? I still come away from it happy about video games. So we'll catch you next week. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.